Is your door not locking? Today I'll show you how to swap out your door lock actuator in less than an hour and get your door working again. Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're here today, then you probably have a problem with your door lock not locking. This can be a common problem on older cars like this Mk1 Ford Focus, where the mechanism can fill up with dirt over time, stopping the mechanics of the door lock from working properly. So today I'll take this door mechanism off the Focus, show you the steps required to swap out the actuator and get the door lock working again. Before you get started, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more DIY videos that you can tackle at home. Alrighty, so as always, let's start by breaking down the tools you will need. Have a rag or towel handy for cleaning parts, grease for lubricating the actuator, a long Phillips head screwdriver for screws, a small flat bait screwdriver for prying, a T30, a T20 and a T10 socket, a ratchet and extensions, a light to see into the nooks and crannies, and a knife to help you cut through some adhesive glue, and a pair of gloves. The first step is to take the door cards off. Remove the triangular plastic cover to begin with, which just snaps into place, so feel free to just pull it off. No screws to worry about inside here. Then unclip the screw cover inside the door handle and unscrew the Phillips head screw found inside. With that removed, the plastic cover holding the window switch in should be loose. Go ahead and unclip the window switch from the cover and then remove the window switch from the wiring harness. With that removed, the cover should slide right off. The next step will be to remove this door handle cover. Use a small flat blade screwdriver or an interior prying tool to remove the cover, which will reveal two Phillips head screws found here. So go ahead and remove those. These will be in pretty tight, so be careful not to strip the head of these screws. With those removed, it will be time to unscrew the small Phillips head screws around the edge of the door card, after which your door card should slide right off. Okay, with the door card removed, let's take a few more steps here to gain good access to the door lock mechanism. The sound deadening material here will be in our way, so let's unclip that, and then we're left with this foam layer that we'll need to peel back. To take this off, grab a pair of gloves to start with, as it's held on by a sticky material that will definitely get onto your fingers. Using a knife, slowly cut away the adhesive glue and peel back the foam layer. With the foam layer peeled back, you should now have clear access to the door handle mechanism. We're going to remove this door handle by unscrewing these T20 Torx bolts here and here, and pulling the door handle mechanism out. To do that, just put a small screwdriver in between the door handle and the door key portion of the handle and pry the small triangular piece away from the car. With that out, you will be able to push your door handle backwards and pull it out of the door. Next, take a T30 socket and unscrew the 3 bolts holding the door lock in. And with that, everything holding the door lock mechanism to the door should be loose. You will need to remove the door puller from inside the cabin, which is just held on by a clip here. The door puller will have a wire leading to the bottom of the door lock actuator here, so go ahead and unclip that to remove the wire. Then, using the best Lego tricks you've got, go ahead and maneuver the door lock in such a way so that it slides out of the hole. The best way I've found to do that is to slide the whole assembly towards the front of the car like this, then undo the wiring harness at the bottom of the assembly like this, and then lift out the assembly. So this actuator here is the part that controls the locking of your door. It's filled with a bunch of complicated springs and electronics, way past my level of experience, and as you can see, mine is quite gummed up with dirt from 17 years of use. Now you can try and get the mechanism loose again with grease like I have, but my advice to you is try and find a replacement unit if you can. After all the greasing I did, I still couldn't get this actuator to work because I think it was broken internally somehow. It was way easier to just head down to the local junkyard, find a donor car and buy a replacement mechanism for $10 from another Focus. This one is in a lot better condition than the one that came off my door, and I definitely tested it and the locking mechanism works. So now that I have a replacement unit, it's just a simple fact of swapping the two over. To do that, we'll need to get the upper portion of the door lock mechanism from our car onto the new unit, mostly because the key barrel is unique to our car and we still want the key to work. Also, this new unit came off of a 5-door car and mine's a 3-door, and I can see that there are slight differences in the upper mechanisms. If you're swapping over a mechanism from a car with the same number of doors, you may not need to do this part. You could simply put your key barrel into your new mechanism, but I had to do this part, so I thought I may as well show the process. So taking off this plastic shroud will expose the two wires that lead down to the door lock actuator. Next, undo these two screws, one's a T20 and one is a T10. With those removed, just on the rear side there's another tab over here which you'll need to flick off, and then simply rotate and maneuver the two separate assemblies so that the wires come apart. Okay, this is the portion we need to keep, and this lower actuator is now junk and we can discard. So here is our replacement unit from the wreckers, and we want to go ahead and do the same disassembly as we've just done with the one from our door. So again, the tab comes off, the two screws on the rear get undone, we unhook the two connecting wires, and then we separate the two assemblies. So now we have our new actuator from the other car from the junkyard, and we have our upper door lock mechanism with the key barrel in it. So we need to combine the two, and to do that we just simply reassemble, and then we should be good to go back to the car. So it's the same deal but in reverse. Start by reconnecting the wires, then slide the plastic tab back onto the lower portion of the door lock mechanism and flip the combined unit over and reinsert the T20 and the T10 screws. And with that, the modifications are done. We should have a nice working unit. So let's head back to the car. Right, so it's time for reassembly. Start by feeding the locking assembly back through the hole with the top part first. Then don't forget to plug the harness back into the bottom of the actuator. And when that's done, feed the door puller wire back into the assembly and pop the door puller back onto the door. Back at the outside of the door, it's time to put the door handle back on. But before you do, take a moment to just clean off the dirt that accumulated on the inside of the handle to avoid the chance of rust building up in this area. Okay, that's looking really nice, so let's go ahead and pop the door handle rubbers back on, reinsert the plastic pin that the inner door handle screw attaches to, then go ahead and put that screw back in. With that on, head back outside and slide the door handle back on and pop the small triangular piece back in and put the second screw back in its place. Just pop the 3 T30 screws back into the door lock mechanism and your door handle should be as good as new. The final things left to do are to reattach the foam layer to the door, pop the sound deadening foam back on, reattach the door card and put all the screws back in place. Okay, moment of truth. Remember how before the door would not lock? Well, check this out. With the new door lock actuator from our donor car for $10, we now have a perfectly working door again. I would call that a win. I hope you like what you saw, and more importantly, like me, I hope you've learned something new today. If you agree, please let me know by giving this video a like. Did I miss something? Do you have anything to add? Feel free to leave a comment below. I always welcome constructive feedback. And if you'd like to see more content from the channel, please subscribe and click the bell so that you'll know when I post up something new. Now enough chit chat, go ahead and try this yourself on your car.